how does that fit into writing? Does computer programming inform your writing anyway? How did that whole transition happen from programming into writing?
Well, I'm a very technically minded person, obviously, and so I guess my general science-y approach to things applies to both professions. But really, I just always wanted to be a writer, and I love software engineering. I always have. And when I actually kind of weighed those options when I was in college of like, what direction do I want to go here? Mm-hmm. I could either go for being a programmer or being a writer. I decided I would rather be a writer, but I also wanted regular meals. So I went into programming. And and I really enjoyed that profession. I only left after, I wrote The Martian while I was a programmer, and I only left my job. I liked the job I had at the time, too. I only left it when I was just so busy with writing commitments that I had to leave my job. I was a happy little cubicle dweller.
So when you left computer programming, you were you started writing full time, or what was the situation?
Well, I mean, I didn't leave my job as an engineer until The Martian was already, on the New York Times bestseller list. Mm-hmm. So I was definitely financially stable, and I'm like, okay, now I can do that. And then I went full-time writing, and I haven't worked an honest day since then. Yeah.
It's that's actually perfect, because I wanted to get into the romanticization of leaving your job without any sort of financial plan or backup, because I feel like a lot of things today, especially in the hustle porn entrepreneur thing, is like, quit your job tomorrow and your dream comes true and everything. And some people do that and it works. That hasn't been my experience. I'm happily and peacefully and chaotically creating content along with a full-time job. So for you, I wanted to see if you could speak on a little bit of that process.
You get to set your own hours, right?
Yes.
So that works well with your side projects.
Yes, exactly. You can. So you were able to be a gigolo, do the side projects, and be a computer programmer.
No, I'm talking about you. I was saying you have a full-time job.
Oh, yeah, yes. That's true. I don't have a client coming for at least another 2 hours, so we're good.
Right,
we're
you're set.
fitting this podcast.
And you need to recharge from your previous one anyway, so it's all good.
It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. Takes a lot out of you. So I've got...
So back to 9/11.
Anyway,
no, I'm just
back to 9/11.
Yeah.
You're talking about the very valid point of this notion of quitting your job and going into your passion, without a safety net or anything. And I think that's complete bullshit. You should not do that. One thing I tell people, I get a lot of people who ask me, hey, I want to be a writer, and how do I do that though? It seems like such a big risk and so on. I just always want to remind everyone, your passion does not have to be your profession. They can be two completely different things. I mean, there are people out there who, work as plumbers all day and then make model trains at night, and there are very happy people, You don't have to have the thing you love most in the world be your profession. And that's like a really important thing to realize. But you should be doing something that you enjoy if possible. It just doesn't have to be your number one. So for me, number one was I wanted to be a writer, but I also very much enjoyed being an engineer. And so I was, an engineer, and I wrote on the side. And anyone else who wants to do, I guess, for lack of a better term, an artistic profession, whether it be physical art, music, literature, anything like that, you can do that without quitting your job and giving up your financial safety net. You don't have to dedicate 100% of your time to making your passion into a profession. You can transition into it without taking a bunch of personal financial risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, there's some schmutz on my camera. I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah, go ahead. It must be from my past gigolo session.
Yes, right. Yeah. There we go.
That's how I didn't always feel like that when I got into first I started interviewing music artists and creating content, putting out interviews, and then eventually stumbled across podcasting, and I became obsessed with monetizing it from the very beginning. For about the first year and a half, I was like, how do I make this my full-time job? How do I get out of what I'm doing right now, which is helping other companies brand themselves and create content for their own purposes, which I do get value out of. But I realized that if this suddenly becomes the beast that feeds my bank account, there's a lot of freedom that I no longer have. And so I've been thinking about like how different do I want my ideal life to be from where it is today? This is pretty good. I mean, I'm talking to someone across the United States in my free time, and then I have another job that allows me to live and eat. And so I'm like, why do I really want to change this? Is it just so I could say that I'm a podcaster full time? Like, can't I just say I'm a podcaster anyway? So
yeah, and I mean, I highly recommend the same to anyone else who wants to, branch out into if you want to branch out into your passion, you don't have to give up your job or your source of income or your financial security.